Let me be real with you. Most people will never respect you. No matter how kind you are, no matter how much effort you put in, you'll still get overlooked. You'll still feel invisible in conversations. And you'll still wonder why people don't take you seriously. It's frustrating, right? You work hard, you try to be helpful, and yet people take you for granted. But here's the truth. Respect isn't given, it's earned. And it doesn't start with other people. It starts with you. Respect comes from your actions, the way you carry yourself, and the standards you set for yourself. The moment you stop chasing approval, stop making excuses, and start embodying discipline, integrity, and self-respect, everything changes. I used to believe that if I was nice, agreeable, and always available, people would respect me more. I thought that by putting everyone else first, I was proving my worth. That if I never said no, if I accommodated every request, if I was always there for people, they'd appreciate me. But I was completely wrong. Instead of respect, I got overlooked. Instead of admiration, I got taken for granted. People expected me to bend over backward for them, but they didn't value me. And here's why. I wasn't valuing myself. I prioritized their approval over my own boundaries, principles, and self-worth. I let people walk all over me because deep down, I was afraid that standing up for myself would push them away. Then one day, I had a wake-up call. A close friend, someone I had supported countless times, completely disregarded my time and needs. When I needed help, it was like I didn't matter. That's when it hit me. I wasn't respected because I hadn't set the standard for how I should be treated. I was allowing others to disrespect me because I was disrespecting myself by excusing bad behavior, not enforcing boundaries, and failing to stand my ground. That's when I realized respect isn't given to people who are simply nice. It's given to those who have standards, discipline, and the courage to stand up for themselves. If you want people to respect you, you must first become someone worthy of respect. That means cutting out the toxic habits that are silently sabotaging your self-worth and undermining your reputation. People don't respect weakness. They respect strength. Not just physical strength, but strength of character. They respect reliability, showing up and keeping your word, self-discipline, choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort, accountability, owning your actions instead of blaming others. Think about the people you admire. What qualities do they have? Are they the kind of people who make excuses? No. Are they lazy? No. Are they emotionally reactive, flying off the handle at every small inconvenience? The people we look up to, leaders, mentors, role models, carry themselves with self-respect, and because of that, they naturally command the respect of others. So if you feel like people don't respect you, don't look outward, look inward. The issue isn't what others are doing, it's what you're allowing. It's the standards you've set for yourself. And the good news? You have the power to change that. If you want to be respected, at work, in relationships, in life, then it's time to take a hard look at your daily habits. Because some of them, whether you realize it or not, are keeping you stuck in a cycle of being overlooked, ignored, or disrespected. Let's break down the 6 toxic habits that are destroying your self-respect and how to eliminate them for good. Excuses do not make you look responsible. They make you look weak. Every time you make an excuse, you are silently telling the world that you do not have control over your own life. And the truth is, no one respects a person who refuses to take responsibility for their actions. Think about it. When was the last time you admired someone who was always full of excuses? Have you ever respected a leader, mentor, or friend who constantly shifted blame onto others? Probably not. People respect those who own up to their mistakes, not those who explain them away. I had to learn this the hard way. I used to have an excuse for everything. If I was late, I blamed traffic. If I missed a deadline, I blamed my workload. If something went wrong, I always had an external reason. And for a long time, I thought that was fine. Life happens, right? Then I started noticing something. People stopped relying on me. My coworkers no longer invited me to important meetings. My friends started making plans without including me. Even my family subtly stopped expecting me to show up. At first, I thought, why is everyone treating me differently? It felt unfair. But then I had a wake-up call. One day, after showing up late again and giving my usual excuse about traffic, someone looked me in the eyes and said, "Then why did you not leave earlier?" That hit me like a ton of bricks. Because they were right. I realized that every time I made an excuse, I was not just justifying my failure. I was proving to everyone around me that I was not reliable. And here is the harsh truth. If people cannot rely on you, they will never respect you. Excuses do not just hurt your reputation, they trap you in a victim mentality. Every time you make an excuse, you are reinforcing a dangerous belief that you have no control over your life and that things just happen to you. And when you think like a victim, you act like one. Instead of taking action, you wait for circumstances to change. But here is the reality. The world does not reward excuse makers. It rewards problem solvers. Look at the most respected people in history. Did they sit around blaming their circumstances? No. They took action. They found solutions. They adapted. They took ownership of their lives. And that is what sets them apart. If you want to break free from this cycle, you need to catch yourself in the act of making excuses and replace them with solutions. Next time you hear yourself saying, "I did not have time," replace it with, "I did not prioritize it. It is not my fault." Replace it with, "What could I have done differently? That is just the way things are." Replace it with, "How can I improve this situation?" This simple shift in language rewires your brain. It forces you to take responsibility instead of deflecting it. And when you start owning up to your mistakes, people notice. They start seeing you as someone who owns up, adapts, and grows. They start trusting you as someone who finds solutions instead of making excuses. They start respecting you as someone who can be counted on. And that is how you earn respect. Once I stopped making excuses, something incredible happened. People started trusting me again. They saw me as dependable, as someone who took ownership instead of pointing fingers. And that is when I realized responsibility is the foundation of respect. But excuses are not the only habit that silently kills respect. There is another one just as damaging: laziness. Let's talk about why being lazy is one of the fastest ways to lose respect and what you can do about it. People do not respect potential. They respect action. You might be naturally talented, intelligent, or full of great ideas, but if you never put in the effort to execute, none of it matters. People admire those who take action, show discipline, and push themselves beyond their comfort zones. Laziness, on the other hand, sends a different message. It tells the world that you are not willing to do what it takes to grow, improve, or contribute. It does not matter how much potential you have if you are unwilling to put in the work. I used to believe I could get by on talent alone. I was always told I was smart, capable, and full of potential. Because of that, I developed the habit of doing just enough to get by. At school, I would procrastinate until the last minute and still manage to turn in decent work. At my job, I would do the bare minimum and think it was enough because I was still technically getting things done. But deep down, I knew I was not giving my best. And the worst part? So did everyone else. I started noticing that while people acknowledged my abilities, they did not truly respect me. My coworkers did not seek me out for projects. My friends admired others who worked harder than me, even if they were less naturally talented. I was seen as someone with potential, but never as someone reliable or inspiring. Then came the moment that opened my eyes. I was working on a group project, and while everyone else was putting in time and effort, I was coasting, thinking I could just contribute a little and still make it work. But when the final presentation came, the gaps in my effort were obvious. The people who worked hard stood out, and I faded into the background. I realized then that talent means nothing if it is not backed by consistent effort. People respect those who push themselves, not those who rely on their natural abilities while avoiding hard work. Hard work beats. Brilliant when talent does not work hard. You have probably seen this play out before. The naturally gifted athlete who refuses to train eventually gets surpassed by the one who works tirelessly. The student who was always smart in school but never developed strong study habits struggles in the real world, while the one who learned how to put in effort thrives. People who consistently push themselves stand out. Those who cut corners fade into the background. Laziness is a silent killer of respect. When people see that you are not putting in the effort, they stop expecting much from you. And once people stop expecting much from you, it is nearly impossible to gain their respect back. If you struggle with laziness, do not aim for massive changes overnight. Focus on showing up 1% better each day. Instead of setting unrealistic goals that lead to burnout, commit to small, consistent actions. If you want to be respected at work, start by completing your tasks with excellence. If you want to be respected in your personal life, show up for the people who rely on you. If you want to be respected by yourself, prove to yourself that you can follow through on your commitments. Consistency beats intensity. The people who achieve long-term success are not the ones who burn out after a burst of motivation, but those who show up every day, even when they do not feel like it. The moment I stopped making excuses for my laziness and committed to showing up every day, I saw an immediate shift. People started trusting me more, relying on me, and treating me with greater respect. It became clear that laziness was a sign of weakness, while discipline was a sign of strength. But there is another habit just as damaging as laziness: neglecting your personal appearance. Many people assume appearance should not matter, but the truth is, how you present yourself is a direct reflection of how much you respect yourself. Let's talk about why your appearance plays a bigger role in earning respect than you might think. Your appearance is not about vanity. It is about self-respect. Many people push back against this idea, believing that appearances should not matter and that people should judge them for who they are, not how they look. While that sounds good, in theory, the reality is different. Whether we like it or not, first impressions are powerful. Before you even speak, people form an opinion based on how you present yourself. The way you dress, your grooming, and your overall presence send a message before you say a single word. Neglecting your personal appearance does not just make you look unpolished. It makes you look like someone who does not care. And if you do not care about yourself, why should anyone else? I used to think personal appearance was not that important. As long as I was a good person, worked hard, and had value to offer, people should respect me regardless of how I looked. Then I learned the hard way that perception matters. I remember showing up to an important networking event in wrinkled clothes, my hair a mess, and looking like I had just rolled out of bed. I did not think it was a big deal at the time. I thought people would focus on what I had to say, not how I looked. But from the moment I walked into the room, I could feel the difference in how people interacted with me. I was overlooked in conversations. People barely acknowledged my presence. Meanwhile, those who were well-dressed, well-groomed, and confident in their appearance naturally commanded attention and respect. At first, I thought I was imagining it, but after a few more experiences like that, I could no longer deny it. When you neglect your personal appearance, you send a message that you do not take yourself seriously. And if you do not take yourself seriously, neither will anyone else. First impressions matter, whether we like it or not. Before someone gets to know your intelligence, character, or skills, they see you. They make subconscious judgments based on how you present yourself. This is not about wearing expensive clothes or looking like a model. It is about showing effort, discipline, and self-respect. Think about the people you naturally respect. Do they look disheveled and careless, or do they present themselves with intention? When someone takes care of their appearance, it signals that they are disciplined, confident, and self-respecting. Taking care of yourself is not just about looking good. It is about showing up in the world as someone who values themselves. You do not need an expensive wardrobe or hours in front of the mirror to make an impact. A few simple habits can drastically change the way you are perceived. Create a simple grooming routine. Regular haircuts, clean nails, fresh breath, and proper hygiene go a long way. Dress with intention. Your clothes do not need to be fancy, but they should be clean, well-fitted, and appropriate for the situation. Pay attention to small details. Wrinkled clothes, scuffed shoes, or an unshaven face can make you look careless, even if you are not. When you take control of your personal appearance, you take control of how the world perceives you. People will start treating you differently, not because you changed as a person, but because they can see that you respect yourself. Once I started taking my appearance seriously, I noticed an immediate shift. People engaged with me more, treated me with greater respect, and valued my presence in conversations. It was not about vanity. It was about self-discipline and effort. But your appearance is just one piece of the puzzle. Respect is not just about how you look. It is also about how you interact with others. And one of the fastest ways to lose respect is by ignoring people's boundaries. Let's talk about why respecting boundaries is essential for earning lasting respect. When you ignore people's boundaries, you send a clear message. You do not respect their needs. And if you do not respect others, they will not respect you. Boundaries are not barriers. They are healthy limits that protect people's mental, emotional, and physical space. When you overstep someone's boundaries, whether by pushing too hard, offering unsolicited advice, or disregarding their need for space, you create discomfort. Over time, that discomfort turns into resentment. And once someone resents you, respect is gone. If you want people to respect you, you must respect them first. That starts with recognizing, understanding, and honoring their boundaries. I learned this the hard way when I lost a close friend. We'd been friends for years, and I thought I was just being supportive, checking in often, offering advice, and trying to help whenever she was going through something difficult. But without realizing it, I was overstepping. I was constantly inserting myself into her life, assuming she needed my help when, in reality, she just needed space. One day, she told me, "I feel like you do not understand that I need time for myself. It is overwhelming." I thought I was being a good friend, but in reality, I was making things worse. Instead of respecting her need for space, I had made it about me, about my need to feel helpful and involved. After that conversation, she started pulling away, and our friendship was never the same. Looking back, I realized that if I had just respected her boundaries, I would not have lost her trust. Respect is a two-way street. If you do not honor other people's limits, they will not respect you. This does not just apply to personal relationships. It applies in professional settings as well. If you constantly check in on a coworker who prefers working independently, you are not helping them. You are frustrating them. If you bombard your boss with unnecessary details when they prefer brief updates, you are not proving your value. You are wasting their time. If you pressure someone into sharing more than they are comfortable with, you are not building trust. You are pushing them away. Overstepping boundaries does not make you more likable or influential. It makes people avoid you. People respect those who can read the room, understand personal space, and recognize when to step back. If you struggle with respecting boundaries, start by paying attention to nonverbal cues. If someone responds with short answers and avoids eye contact, they may not want to continue the conversation. If they seem hesitant when you ask for something, they might not be comfortable with it. Give them an easy way to say no. If they physically pull away or show discomfort, respect their space. When in doubt, ask. A simple, "Let me know if you need space," or "Would you prefer I check in later," shows respect for their boundaries. By honoring people's limits, you show that you value and respect them, and when people feel respected, they will respect you more in return. Once I started respecting people's boundaries, I noticed an immediate change. My relationships became stronger, and people trusted me more because they felt safe around me. But there is another habit that destroys trust and respect just as quickly: taking credit for other people's work. If you want to be respected, You need to ensure that your success is built on integrity, not shortcuts. Let's talk about why stealing credit is one of the fastest ways to lose respect. Stealing credit is one of the fastest ways to lose respect. It is not just unethical. It makes you look insecure and untrustworthy. People admire those who earn their achievements, not those who take shortcuts. When you take credit for someone else's work, you might receive short-term recognition, but in the long run, you damage your reputation. Once people see you as someone who prioritizes personal gain over integrity, their trust in you erodes. Respect is built on honesty and fairness. The more you try to falsely elevate yourself, the more others will see through it, and the respect you once had will disappear. Early in my career, I was desperate to prove myself. I wanted recognition. I wanted to be seen as valuable. During a big project, I contributed, but my colleague did the heavy lifting, putting in extra hours, researching, and ensuring everything was done correctly. When the project was presented, I subtly framed my words to make it seem like I had done more than I actually had. At first, it felt great. My manager was impressed, and I got the praise I had been craving. But that feeling was short-lived. My colleague knew the truth, and over time, so did others. The admiration I had gained quickly turned to skepticism. People started being wary of working with me. The next time an opportunity arose, my colleagues were hesitant to collaborate, and I could feel the shift. My credibility had taken a hit. That experience taught me a painful lesson. Recognition that is not earned is not real respect. If you have to manipulate situations to make yourself look better, you are not truly respected. You are just playing a temporary game, and sooner or later, people catch on. True leaders lift others up. The more you give credit, the more respected you become. Some people mistakenly believe that sharing credit makes them look weaker, that if they acknowledge others, they will be overlooked. But the opposite is true. When you highlight the contributions of others, you demonstrate confidence, integrity, and leadership. People respect those who uplift their team. If you look at the most successful and respected leaders, they never take all the credit. Instead, they acknowledge and celebrate the efforts of those around them. When you are generous with recognition, people trust you more. They see you as fair, honest, and someone who values teamwork. In return, they are more likely to support, respect, and even advocate for you. Make it a habit to give credit where it is due. The next time you get praised for teamwork, immediately highlight your collaborators. Say thanks, but I could not have done it without their name. They did an amazing job. If someone else contributed significantly to a project, acknowledge them in front of others. If you are in a leadership position, publicly recognize your team's efforts. This simple shift does two things. It earns genuine respect from your peers, and it positions you as a person of integrity. People will see you as someone they can trust, not someone they need to watch out for. Once I started giving credit instead of taking it, my reputation changed. People trusted me more. They wanted to collaborate with me, and they respected me for being fair. But there is one more habit that can destroy respect faster than any of the others: being emotionally reactive. No matter how intelligent or hardworking you are, if you cannot control your emotions, you will never be truly respected. Let's talk about why emotional control is a crucial pillar of self-respect and how to master it. Losing control of your emotions does not make you look strong. It makes you look weak. Many people believe that reacting intensely shows passion, confidence, or strength. But in reality, it does the opposite. When you are emotionally reactive, you come across as unstable, unpredictable, and difficult to work with. People will start walking on eggshells around you, not because they respect you, but because they are afraid of setting you off. True respect is not given to those who explode under pressure. It is given to those who remain calm, composed, and in control of their emotions, no matter the situation. There was a time when I could not handle criticism. If someone pointed out a mistake I made, I would immediately get defensive. If I felt slighted, I would lash out, raising my voice or shutting down completely. At the time, I thought I was standing up for myself. I thought that by reacting strongly, I was proving I would not be pushed around. But in reality, I was pushing people away. I remember one moment in particular. A close friend gave me some honest feedback about how I handled a situation. Instead of listening, I got angry. I felt like I was being attacked, so I lashed out, making excuses and turning the blame back on them. The conversation ended abruptly, and the next time we spoke, things felt different. The trust was damaged. That moment made me realize something powerful. Being emotionally reactive was not making me more respected. It was making me less respected. People saw me as unpredictable, not as someone they could count on. Emotional stability is a sign of true strength. Think about the people you admire the most. Are they the ones who lose their temper at the slightest inconvenience? Or are they the ones who stay calm, rational, and composed, even in the face of adversity? The Stoics believed that while we cannot control external events, we can always control our internal responses. This is what separates those who are respected from those who are feared or avoided. When you are emotionally reactive, you give away your power. You let external circumstances dictate your mood, your reactions, and ultimately your reputation. But when you control your emotions, you remain in charge of yourself, your decisions, and how others perceive you. If you want to break free from emotional reactivity, start practicing pause and control techniques. The next time you feel triggered, pause before reacting. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, is this reaction going to help or hurt me? Choose to respond with intention, not impulse. This does not mean suppressing your emotions. It means learning to channel them effectively. When you stay calm under pressure, people respect you. They see you as someone who is emotionally mature and in control, not someone who is controlled by their emotions. Once I stopped reacting emotionally and started responding with control, people treated me differently. I was no longer seen as impulsive or irrational. I was seen as someone who could be trusted and respected in any situation. If you want to be respected, start with yourself. Remove these 6 toxic habits from your life: excuses, laziness, neglecting your appearance, ignoring boundaries, taking credit for others' work, and emotional reactivity. When you commit to personal discipline, integrity, and self-respect, you will notice that the world around you starts treating you differently. Respect is not something you can demand. It is something you earn by becoming the kind of person others look up to. The choice is yours. Respect is not about being perfect. It is about being accountable, disciplined, and in control of yourself. Look at the people you respect the most. They are not perfect, but they are consistent. They do not make excuses. They are not lazy. They present themselves well. They respect boundaries. They give credit where it is due. And most importantly, they stay composed under pressure. The difference between those who command respect and those who are ignored is not talent, luck, or popularity. It is the habits they choose to cultivate. If you have ever felt like people do not take you seriously, if you have ever wondered why others do not give you the respect you deserve, do not look outward, look inward. The way the world treats you is often a reflection of what you allow, what you tolerate, and what you reinforce with your actions. Good news, you have the power to change that. You can start making different choices today. Now I want to hear from you. Out of the 6 toxic habits we discussed, which one are you going to work on first? Let me know in the comments. And if this video helped you, be sure to like and subscribe for more insights on self-improvement, discipline, and personal growth. Remember, respect starts with you. The moment you start respecting yourself, the world will follow.